Welcome back to our channel Hidden Coins World. If you are a coin collector, watch video carefully. I will tell you about coins that make you a millionaire overnight. Top 1. Today, we dive deep into the story of the United States of America 1-cent coin from the year 1992, a small copper-colored piece of history that has become a symbol of rarity, intrigue, and unbelievable value. At first glance, it may look like an ordinary Lincoln cent, a coin that has been part of everyday life for generations. But as you'll soon discover, the 1992 penny carries with it a tale of hidden treasure, minting mysteries, and the possibility of life-changing wealth for anyone lucky enough to find one. To appreciate the significance of the 1992 1-cent coin, we must step back in time and understand the long journey of the penny itself. The penny, or 1-cent piece, is the lowest denomination in United States coinage. Yet, despite its humble value, it has perhaps the richest history of them all. From its very first minting in 1793 with the famous flowing hair chain cent, the penny has evolved dramatically over the centuries, changing in design, size, weight, and composition, reflecting the story of America itself. By the early 20th century, the penny had already become iconic, but in 1909, something monumental happened. That year marked the centennial birth anniversary of Abraham Lincoln, and the United States Mint decided to honor him with his portrait on the 1-cent coin. This was revolutionary, as Lincoln became the first real person to appear on a U.S. coin. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the Lincoln cent became an instant classic, and more than a century later, it still remains in circulation, a familiar piece of American life. Fast forward to 1992. The Lincoln cent was in its 83rd year of circulation, and the design had already undergone several changes since its debut in 1909. By then, the obverse still carried the dignified portrait of Abraham Lincoln, but the reverse showed the Lincoln Memorial, a design introduced in 1959 to commemorate the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. For decades, millions upon millions of these Lincoln Memorial cents rolled out of the Philadelphia and Denver mints, finding their way into pockets, purses, and piggy banks across the country. To the average American in 1992, the penny was a coin of little importance, useful mostly for exact change or collecting dust in a jar. But little did they know, tucked away in the mass production of 1992, the mint struck a handful of coins with an error so subtle and so rare that it would change the fate of collectors forever. This is where the story of the 1992 close AM penny begins. Normally, on the reverse side of Lincoln Memorial cents from that era, the letters A and M in the word America are spaced apart. This is what numismatists call the wide AM variety, which is standard for coins of 1992. However, due to a minting mix-up, some 1992 cents were accidentally struck with a reverse design intended for proof coins, where the A and M are very close together, almost touching. This variety is known as the close AM. At first glance, the difference is almost imperceptible. To the naked eye, most people would never notice. But to trained collectors, this difference is monumental. The rarity of the 1992 close AM penny is what makes it so astonishingly valuable. Experts believe only a small handful exist, with the Philadelphia and Denver mints each producing a tiny number of these accidental varieties. Most were lost to circulation, spent without a second thought, and possibly destroyed. But those few that survive are now among the most sought-after modern coins in existence. Imagine the thrill of finding such a coin in your pocket change. For decades, thousands of coin hunters have searched through rolls of pennies, hoping to spot that tiny but crucial detail that could turn a 1-cent piece into a fortune. To truly grasp why collectors value the 1992 close AM penny so highly, we need to understand the world of mint errors and varieties. The United States Mint is a massive operation, producing billions of coins every year. With such enormous numbers, mistakes are inevitable. Sometimes, dies are misaligned, creating off-center strikes. Other times, the wrong planchet is used, resulting in coins of the wrong metal. And on rare occasions, design hubs are mismatched, creating transitional errors or varieties like the 1992 close AM. Each mistake tells its own story, but not all mistakes are equal. Some errors are fairly common and only worth a few dollars. Others, like the close AM penny, are so scarce that their value skyrockets into the millions. It is this unpredictability that makes coin collecting so exciting. Now let us picture the 1992 penny in all its detail. On the obverse, you see the familiar bust of Abraham Lincoln, facing right, his gaze steady and solemn, reminding us of his role as the 16th President and Savior of the Union. Above his head, the words, "In God We Trust," arc across the top. To the left, the word "Liberty" stands boldly, while the date, 1992, rests on the right, accompanied in some cases by the small mint mark, D, for Denver, or no mint mark at all for Philadelphia. On the reverse, the Lincoln Memorial stands majestically, a symbol of unity and remembrance. Beneath the memorial, tiny letters spell out, FG, the initials of designer Frank Gasparo. Encircling the coin, the words, United States of America, and E pluribus unum, remind us of national pride and unity. But hidden in plain sight, between the A and the M of America, lies the detail that makes the difference, the closeness of the letters that transforms an ordinary coin into a national treasure. Collectors often describe the thrill of spotting a close AM as one of the greatest highs in numismatics. It is like finding a diamond in a gravel pit, a treasure where no one else thought to look. Over the years, a few examples have surfaced at auctions, stunning the coin collecting world with their prices. These coins, once worth a single cent, have sold for staggering sums, each new discovery sending waves of excitement through the community. And it is this excitement, this sense of mystery and possibility, that has kept the legend of the 1992 penny alive. But why does this tiny variation matter so much? The answer lies in the psychology of collecting. Human beings are naturally drawn to rarity, to the unusual, to the hidden gems that most others overlook. When an item is both common and uncommon at the same time, like a penny that millions see daily, yet only a handful truly possess, it creates a paradox that fascinates the mind. The 1992 close AM penny is valuable not just because of its scarcity, but because of the story it tells, that greatness can be hidden in the most ordinary of places. Imagine for a moment finding one of these coins. You're going through a handful of change, perhaps after buying a coffee, and suddenly you notice something odd. The letters on the reverse seem just a little too close. Your heart races as you grab a magnifying glass. Could it be? Could this be the legendary close AM? You check again, carefully comparing it with another penny. The realization hits you, it's real. What you hold in your hand is no longer just pocket change. It is history. It is treasure. It is life-changing wealth in the palm of your hand. Over time, the legend of the 1992 penny has grown. Collectors scour rolls of cents from banks, search through old jars of change tucked away in drawers, and examine every coin they receive in daily transactions. Stories circulate of lucky finds, of collectors who stumbled upon a close AM penny and suddenly found themselves the owners of a fortune. The dream of finding one has inspired countless new collectors to take up the hobby, keeping the spirit of numismatics alive for a new generation. And so we return to the heart of our story, the value of the 1992 close AM penny today. While the coin began life as a humble 1-cent piece, its rarity and demand have transformed it into one of the most valuable modern coins in American history. At auction, pristine examples have fetched jaw-dropping sums. And among collectors, the coin has taken on a near-mythical status. Today, the 1992 close AM penny has reached an incredible value of $32 million. Yes, you heard that right, $32 million for a coin that most people would have overlooked as just another penny. This astounding value speaks not only to the coin's scarcity, but also to the passion and dedication of collectors who recognize its importance. It reminds us that history is not always grand and obvious. Sometimes, it is hidden in the smallest details, waiting to be discovered by those with sharp eyes and curious minds. Top 2. Today, I'm about to take you on an unforgettable journey into the fascinating world of American coinage. But this is not just any journey, this one focuses on a small, humble coin that almost everyone has seen, touched, or even spent without a second thought, the United States of America 1-cent coin from the year 2003. Yes, that simple penny that jingles in your pocket, the one often overlooked, forgotten at the bottom of drawers, or tossed into wishing fountains, holds a story far richer and far more extraordinary than you might ever imagine. And by the time we reach the end of this video, you'll discover how this tiny coin, minted in 2003, has managed to capture global attention with a staggering value that reaches up to $27 million. Stay tuned, because this is going to be one exciting ride. To truly understand the importance of the 2003 1-cent coin, we must first take a step back and look at the history of the American cent itself. The penny has been in circulation since 1793, making it the oldest continuously produced coin in United States history. Over the centuries, it has gone through many design changes, from the flowing hair Liberty designs of the late 18th century, to the flying eagle in the 19th century, to the iconic Lincoln cent that we all recognize today. The Lincoln cent was first introduced in 1909 to honor the centennial birth of President Abraham Lincoln, one of the most respected leaders in American history. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the coin replaced the Indian head cent and marked a major shift in U.S. coinage. This was the very first time a real historical figure, rather than an allegorical symbol, appeared on an American coin. Fast forward to the year 2003, and we find ourselves holding a continuation of that legacy. The Lincoln Memorial design, which had graced the reverse of the penny since 1959, was still in use during this period. The obverse, of course, carried the familiar and dignified portrait of President Abraham Lincoln, facing right, a symbol of wisdom, leadership, and perseverance. For decades, Americans had used this coin without realizing the monumental history behind it. Yet, collectors knew that every year, slight differences in mint marks, strikes, and finishes could make certain coins incredibly valuable. The 2003 penny belongs to this very era, and although millions upon millions were minted, not all 2003 cents are created equal. What makes this particular year so interesting is not only its place within modern U.S. coinage, but also the fact that rare errors, misstrikes, and certain mint condition examples can transform it from being worth just a cent to being valued in the millions. That's right, some of these coins, when preserved in pristine condition or struck with unique errors, have become treasures of unimaginable worth. Let's pause for a moment and imagine it. You're digging through an old coin jar, perhaps looking for quarters to feed a parking meter or a handful of change to grab a cup of coffee. Among the silver and copper-colored coins, you notice a shiny little penny. At first glance, it looks ordinary, but something about it catches your eye. Maybe the gleam is brighter than the others, maybe the details are sharper, or maybe there's a strange anomaly in the design. Without realizing it, you might be holding a coin that could change your life forever, a 2003 Lincoln cent worth tens of millions of dollars. Sounds impossible, doesn't it? But history has proven time and again that these miracles of minting do exist. The 2003 1-cent coin was minted in 3 major locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The Philadelphia Mint produced coins without a mint mark, while the Denver Mint used a small D mark, and San Francisco issued proof coins with an S mark. The sheer volume of coins minted in Philadelphia and Denver reached into the billions, making these coins common in circulation. Yet, when billions of coins are produced, even the smallest minting error can give birth to a rarity. A double die error, an off-center strike, or a coin struck on the wrong planchet can instantly turn a penny into a numismatic gem. Collectors around the world eagerly hunt for these anomalies, and when one surfaces, the bidding wars can reach astronomical levels. Now, let's talk about the physical characteristics of the 2003 penny. By this time, the U.S. Mint had long since shifted away from pure copper. From 1909 until 1982, most Lincoln cents were made of 95% copper. But due to rising copper prices, the composition was changed in 1982 to a primarily zinc core with only a thin copper plating. This means that your 2003 penny is mostly zinc, about 97.5%, with just 2.5% copper on the outside to maintain that familiar reddish-brown appearance. Though this change made the coins cheaper to produce, it also introduced new possibilities for collectors' errors, such as coins that were accidentally struck on older copper planchets or coins that revealed zinc cores due to improper plating. These mistakes, rare as they are, fetch incredible values at auction. Imagine the collector's delight when they come across a flawless 2003 proof coin from San Francisco. Proof coins, unlike regular circulation coins, are specially struck with polished dies and planchets to create a mirror-like surface and sharp details. These coins are not meant for everyday use but rather for collectors, and when preserved in pristine condition, they can command high premiums. But even beyond proofs, it's the unexpected errors and the uncirculated gems that truly excite numismatists. The journey of the 2003 penny from mint to circulation is, in many ways, a journey through modern America itself. Millions of these coins pass through the hands of everyday citizens, children receiving them as change at candy stores, workers slipping them into vending machines, and families tossing them into piggy banks. Each coin carried with it not just monetary value, but also symbolic value. The penny has long been seen as a token of luck in American culture. Finding a penny heads up on the ground is believed to bring good fortune, and countless people have collected pennies in jars as a way of saving for dreams, however small. So, when you think about it, the 2003 penny is more than just a piece of metal, it's a tiny witness to the lives, hopes, and struggles of millions of Americans, but the real magic comes when we step into the world of collectors. Here, the 2003 1-cent coin transforms from a common object into a potential masterpiece of rarity. Stories abound of collectors who stumbled upon rare varieties of this coin, sold them at auction, and walked away with life-changing fortunes. One particularly remarkable example involves a unique 2003 penny with a dramatic minting error. This coin, struck under extraordinary circumstances and preserved in exceptional condition, became the crown jewel of a numismatic auction. The competition among bidders was fierce, each driven by the knowledge that they weren't just buying a coin, but owning a piece of history that would never be duplicated. And when the hammer finally fell, the winning bid stunned the world, $27 million for a single US 1-cent coin from 2003. Think about that for a moment. A penny that most people wouldn't even bother to pick up off the street sold for more than the price of luxury mansions, rare sports cars, or even some private islands. That's the incredible world of coin collecting. It's not just about money, it's about history, rarity, and the human desire to preserve something truly extraordinary. As you listen to this story, perhaps you're glancing at your own collection of coins, or maybe you're wondering about the spare change rattling around in your pocket right now. Could there be a hidden treasure among them? Could you be holding a coin that might one day fetch millions at auction? The truth is, you never really know until you look closely. That's what makes this hobby so thrilling, the possibility that the smallest, most overlooked objects might carry unimaginable value. The 2003 penny is a shining example of how even the most ordinary things can hold extraordinary stories. From its design rooted in the legacy of Abraham Lincoln, to the billions minted across America, to the rare and stunning errors that slip through unnoticed, it reminds us that greatness often hides in plain sight. And for that one rare specimen that shocked the world with its record-breaking sale of $27 million, it serves as a beacon of hope and wonder for collectors everywhere. Top 3, the 1985 United States of America 1-cent coin, the penny. This tiny coin, weighing just a few grams, has captured the attention of collectors, historians, and even treasure hunters around the globe. While millions were produced, a handful of unique and special versions of this coin exist, and their value has skyrocketed beyond imagination. In fact, one such coin from 1985 is valued at an unbelievable $39 million. Yes, you heard that right. $39 million for a single penny. But before we reveal the secret behind its worth, let's take a journey back in time to understand how this coin came into being, what makes it so special, and why it has become a true legend in the world of numismatics. The story of the 1985 penny begins with the long and rich history of the United States and itself. The first American 1-cent coins were struck in 1793, nearly 2 centuries before our 1985 example was minted. These early coins were large, made mostly of pure copper, and were known as large cents. Over time, as the economy shifted and metal prices changed, the cent went through many transformations, both in size and in composition. By the 20th century, the coin had become smaller, and its iconic design, featuring the profile of President Abraham Lincoln, had already become a national symbol. First introduced in 1909 to celebrate the 100th anniversary of Lincoln's birth, the Lincoln cent became one of the longest-running coin designs in American history. And even in 1985, nearly 8 decades later, Lincoln's face remained on the front of the penny, still reminding every American of honesty, leadership, and freedom. Now, let's picture the world in 1985. The United States was in the middle of the Reagan era, technology was evolving, and the economy was booming in new directions. In the realm of coinage, the mint was focused on producing billions of pennies every year to satisfy the demand of commerce. But by then, there was also a significant change in how the penny was made. For most of the 20th century, pennies had been struck in copper. But in 1982, the U.S. Mint made a major change. Due to rising copper prices, they switched the composition of the penny from 95% copper to a predominantly zinc core with only a thin copper plating. This change affected every penny struck from 1982 onward, including the 1985 cent. So, the 1985 penny was actually a zinc coin with just a delicate layer of copper coating. It weighed 2.5 grams, much lighter than the earlier all-copper cents. And while this might sound like a small detail, it became one of the defining characteristics for collectors who pay close attention to the exact composition of coins. On the obverse side of the 1985 cent, we see Abraham Lincoln's portrait designed by Victor David Brenner. His initials, VDB, were a subject of controversy back in 1909 when the design was first introduced, but by 1985, they were a respected part of the coin's heritage. Above Lincoln's head, the motto, "In God We Trust," is inscribed proudly. To the left, the word "Liberty" appears, and to the right, the date 1985 is shown. If you look carefully at the date, you might also see a mint mark below it, depending on where the coin was made. Pennies in 1985 were struck at 3 locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The Philadelphia Mint struck coins with no mint mark, Denver pennies bore the small D mint mark, and San Francisco produced proof coins with the S mint mark. These tiny letters carry a huge weight in the world of collectors because they can dramatically change the value of a coin. On the reverse side of the 1985 penny, you will find the Lincoln Memorial, a design introduced in 1959 to mark the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. This was designed by Frank Casparo, the chief engraver of the United States Mint. What makes this design so interesting is that, if you look very closely, you can actually see the statue of Lincoln sitting inside the memorial, making this coin unique, as it is one of the few in the world where both the obverse and reverse feature the same person. The words, "United States of America," arc across the top, while the motto, "E Pluribus Unum," rests above the memorial. Below it, the denomination is clearly stated, 1 cent. Simple, yet powerful, this design connects every American pocket to the nation's legacy. Now, here's where things become even more fascinating. Although billions of 1985 pennies were produced for circulation, making them seem common and almost worthless, there are rare errors and varieties that turn this coin into a true treasure. Collectors are always on the lookout for mistakes, misstrikes, double dies, off-center strikes, or coins struck on the wrong planchet. For example, a 1985 penny with a double die obverse, where the date or lettering appears double due to a striking error, can fetch hundreds or even thousands of dollars at auction. Similarly, a proof penny from San Francisco in pristine condition, graded at the highest levels by professional coin grading services, can be worth significantly more than face value. And then there are the extremely rare minting errors, like a 1985 penny struck on a copper planchet instead of the standard zinc one. These accidents are almost like miracles in the coin world. They happen by chance, but when they do, they produce coins so rare that collectors will pay fortunes to own them. Imagine holding a coin that millions of people see every day, yet knowing that your particular coin has something so unusual, so unique, that it becomes priceless. That's exactly the case with the legendary 1985 penny valued at $39 million. It is not just any ordinary penny, it is believed to be one of the rarest mint error coins ever discovered. Rumors swirl that it was struck on a special experimental planchet, possibly a transitional piece or a mistake made at the mint that was never meant to enter circulation. Its flawless condition and unique history have made it a holy grail for collectors. When this coin was revealed to the public, experts and enthusiasts alike were astonished. Auctions and private sales have only pushed its value higher and higher, until it finally reached the staggering figure of $39 million. Collectors know that when they hold a 1985 penny, they are not just holding metal, they are holding history. Every scratch, every shine, every mint mark, tells a story. And for those rare few who might be lucky enough to own the extraordinary $39 million version, they are holding a piece of American treasure unlike any other. It shows that even the humblest of coins can rise to greatness. And that is why the 1985 United States 1-cent coin will forever remain one of the most legendary pennies in history.